Lower Paxton Township Manager, and in typical fashion, I will give a brief summary of tonight's meeting before we begin, particularly for the benefit of those who may be watching at home. And I'm not quite sure, I didn't get a report yet to see if anybody's over in the multi-purpose rooms, but as we had done last week, due to the pandemic and the restrictions upon this room, particularly with regard to meeting sizes, we have this room open as well as the two multi-purpose rooms in the event we have an overflow. So to those who may be watching in the other rooms, if you do have a question at some point for the board on any issue on the agenda or not, we ask that you make your way to this room. And as we also have been doing, there is a sign-up sheet nearest the entry door, and we ask that if you are going to be speaking, that you sign in, and that is for the benefit of our recording secretary to appropriately record your name and address. So, with all that said, the meeting tonight is going to consist of action on a lease agreement with the Harrisburg Area YMCA for the rental of certain portions of the Friendship Center. The board is going to take action on an application for payment for the Friendship Center HVAC rooftop unit phase 2 project, and that will be a closeout of the project as well. The board will then take action on change order number 1 with a contractor for the Heroes Grove Improvements Project, phase 2. And then in subdivision and land development action, the board will be taking action on a preliminary and final land development plan for Life Storage Facility at 958 Pfeiffer's Lane. The board will take action on resolution 20-26 and 20-27 dealing with road dedications for the Stray Winds Farm development. And then the board will take action on resolution 20-31, which authorizes the filing of road dedications with the county clerk of courts. And before adjourning, the board will take action on the payment of township and authority bills. With all that said, the board is seated and prepared to conduct business. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gottschall. We'll call this meeting of the Lower Paxton Township Board of Supervisors to order. I'd like to ask everyone to please stand, and Supervisor Zumas will lead us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Mr. Zumas. We'll now move to approval of minutes. These would be minutes of the August 4th, 2020 and August 11, 2020 meetings of the Board of Supervisors. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from August the 4th, 2020 and August the 11th, 2020.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Before we have public comment, I would like to announce the Board of Supervisors did meet in executive session prior to this meeting and will do so following it. Public comment is reserved for items not on the agenda tonight. If you are here to speak on an agenda item, you'll be afforded the opportunity to speak at that time. A reminder that we have our policy is that we limit comments to 5 minutes. And tonight we have a very lengthy agenda, so we are going to very much be enforcing that 5-minute limit. So with that, is there anybody who would like to address the board on an item not on the agenda this evening? Would anybody like to address the board on an item not on the agenda? Okay, seeing no one, we'll move to chairman and board member comments. Board members, do we have any comments to begin the meeting?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Zumas and myself last night attended the Council of Government meeting in Hampton Township, which we do the third Monday of every month. We didn't have a guest speaker last night, so we did some housekeeping, and they informed us that the salt bids were in, and salt is down $10 a ton, which is good from last year. So we can get it $57 a ton if we pick it up and $57.94 if it's delivered. So hopefully we will not have to use a lot of that this year. That is it.
Well, the long-range weather forecast is apparently calling for light precipitation over the winter. Bad news for snow lovers, but good news for our budget.
But if you read the almanac, it says we're going to have a blizzard the middle of February.
If you ask all the
So-
squirrels in my yard, they're gearing up for a tough winter.
Squirrels have been very active. You're correct. Any other board member comments? Okay, seeing none, time for the manager's report. Mr. Godshall. Uh-oh. Is your microphone not working? Hopefully.
Okay, sorry about that. Thank you very much. Okay, members of the board, I have two items this evening, if I may. The first is our favorite subject, again, which is that of the census. And actually, this marks the last weekly update on the census, actually, as field activities for the entire count are now complete. So to round out updates, I will read a brief message from Steve Deck, the Executive Director of the Tri-County Regional Planning, which he just sent out this week. Given the significant challenges of being the first census ever to focus on online responses, probably 90% of the counting during a global pandemic, the near elimination of in-person gatherings that could have served as outreach opportunities, and the societal tensions that were present throughout much of the data collection period, exceeding our 2010 self-response rate is a success, even if we didn't reach our goal of having every municipality in Dauphin County exceed their 2010 rate. Highlights of our success include overall self-response rate increased by 2.1% over 2010, from 71.4 to 73.5%. Higher self-response rate equates to roughly 5,142 additional households responding to the census, representing roughly 12,300 residents. 16 of our 40 municipalities exceeded their self-response rate for 2010. These municipalities had a total 2010 population of 175,287 residents, or an average population of nearly 11,000 per. There were only 9 municipalities who fell more than 10% below their 2010 self-response rate, and these municipalities were small, having an average 2010 population of only 1,374. So good news. Of local importance, obviously, Lower Paxton Township ended the process with a self-response rate of 81.1%, beating out our 2010 rate of 77.3.
All right.
Our residents did a wonderful job.
Very good.
The next item, if I may, good news again. On October 14th, the township was provided notice from the Dauphin County Department of Community and Economic Development that we were awarded the full request of CARES Act funding in the amount of $2,609,043. This reimbursement-based grant covers COVID-related expenditures during the period of March 1st, 2020 through December 30th, 2020. And now over $2.5 million of the grant will go towards covering the salaries of frontline police officers over the course of that funding period. So I want to commend our former finance manager, Alicia Knoll, and all staff who were involved in pulling this funding request together, as well also as the county commissioners for providing the entirety of our request. And that is all I have.
Yes. No, I too would like to express our appreciation to the county commissioners for fully funding our request. Given the additional expenses the township incurred as a result of the COVID-19 crisis, it's very good that the federal funding actually made its way this far down. So appreciation to the county commissioners for that. With that, we'll now move to old business, of which there is none. So we will proceed to new business. First item under new business, 9A, we need to...
They're different.
Yeah, they're different.
Which one you want to do?
Now I see, we have different,
Do this one? Okay, Brad's
which one? Heroes Grove first? Oh, yes, that way. Okay, so we're going to go to, depending on what version you have, 9B.
For folks watching, the printed version was a little bit different from the online version, so we're just making sure we pick one and stick with it.
So we need to take action on change order number 1 with the contractor for the Heroes Grove Improvement Project Phase 2. And we are pleased to have Christine Hunter from H. Edward Black and Associates back with us, who has done a tremendous job, her and her firm, on this project. And Christine, if you could explain the change order for us.
Sure, thank you. Thank you, Board, for giving me this time. So we are in the process, we are under construction for Heroes Grove Phase 2, which involves putting a roof over the amphitheater stage, adding some stairs, a driveway to get vehicular access to the stage, enclosing the electrical panel in a storage building. During that process, it was discovered that when we built Phase 1, we put foundations under the stage so that when we went to add a roof, they would be in place. However, the concept of the roof changed over time. It's a sturdier, more structural roof right now, the one that is going to be installed with the intent that it will be much lower maintenance for the township and have greater longevity. So it was discovered that the foundations that are in place are not sufficient for that roof. And so we need to have them actually build new foundations. So that's the majority of what this change order involves. There were also a couple of things, some additional electrical receptacles as it was looked at, just requested for usability of equipment for different types of programs that happen there at the amphitheater. So it is a change order for those things. We have grant funding in place. The entire project is funded by grants. There's no cost to the township for this, and this change order is covered by the grant funding that we have in place. So it solves a problem. We have the funding, so we are requesting approval of the change order.
So there's not a need to go after additional grant funding. The money's
Correct.
already in place.
Correct.
Board members, any questions? Okay, seeing none, any public comment? Seeing none, is there a motion that we approve change order number 1 with the contractor for Heroes Grove Improvement Project Phase 2?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to accept change order number 1 with the contractor for the Heroes Grove Improvement Project Phase 2 in the amount of $66,155.00.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. There you go, Christine.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time this evening.
Nice to see you.
Christine, just a quick comment. The large beam that's going across the front,
Yes.
that's going to support the additional support for the roof, it's also can be used in the future for the township requiring or asking for a movie screen to be mounted across there, electrically controlled with a switch.
Right.
So that
Right.
it can be put up and down for the times that we have movies outside.
And that's part of the reason that additional electric receptacles have been added to the project. There'll be receptacles on that beam in the middle and at each end to allow for a projector screen and also for
Speakers.
speakers to be mounted in the future.
And construction is now underway, correct?
Yes.
Very good. Do you know when it's scheduled to be? I know you want to get,
They're going to do everything except the stage roof has been delayed because of this whole redesign of the foundations. So the roof will probably not be installed until February,
okay.
but the remainder of the work will be done this fall, and we'll be ready to receive that roof then.
Oh, good. Well, hopefully we don't get that snowstorm Robin talked about in February, and
I know.
we can get the roof put up.
It'll be ready for next spring and summer.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, now, going back to the electronic version of the agenda, under 9B, the board needs to take action on a lease agreement with the Harrisburg Area YMCA for the rental of certain portions of the Friendship Center. The lease was presented at our workshop last week. We have Rich with us this evening, and Also, we have Chad Krebs with us as well. Gentlemen, always a pleasure to have you with us. Last week, they made a presentation and answered questions. They're here tonight in case any new questions arise for them. Mr. Stein answered a variety of questions last week and gave an overview. He too is here in case there are any questions to be answered. The board is prepared to move forward with action this evening. So at this point, is there any public comment on this before the board takes official action?
Evening, board members.
Good evening.
Jack Doherty, 2407 Abbey Lane. Just for the record, the operating board had provided the supervisors with a list of recommendations based on the presentation by Mr. Stein and Mr. Curl. That's been submitted to the Board of Supervisors. We submitted that on Friday. I don't have to reiterate that. You have that, and we'll take that under consideration. Representations have been made, however, by Mr. Henry that this is not, if this does not go through, we're not going back to the way we were before. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank all of the board members, all the staff, all the members of the facility that have made the Friendship Center an outstanding facility and an absolute gem for Lower Paxton Township and the central Pennsylvania area. It's through your hard work, through your volunteerism, that the Friendship Center has achieved the things that it has, and it's been an honor and a privilege to serve the township and the Friendship Center in the capacity of a board member and the chairman. So thank you very much for your time, and my hope is that in whatever form it takes, the Friendship Center remains a vibrant part of the community for years to come. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Doherty. Thank you for your service. And just so you know, we did very carefully read the document that you provided to us that triggered a number of questions to legal counsel for clarification. So your efforts were very much appreciated in that regard.
And I want to second what you said about the volunteers. Very much.
Would anybody else like to address the board on this issue? Mrs. Prawl.
Things not ticking, is it?
No.
Good evening,
Good evening, Sandy.
supervisors, representatives from the Y, everyone here. Sandy Prawl, 1001 Homestead Avenue, Harrisburg. Something. I also second Jack's comments. I served on the operating board for many years. It was a wonderful group of people, and I think they did many good things for the Friendship Center and for the members and the township residents who attended, who enjoyed the Friendship Center. I just, as well, submitted some comments to the supervisors, and it was based on meetings I had with professionals, professional accountants, legal, and real estate. And I hope that you will consider my comments as well. You're ready to vote tonight, but I really think I am asking for a postponement to hope that you can take more into consideration in your lease. Let me show you what I brought. This is a real estate lease. Over 350 pages for 21,000 square feet, not 52,000, for 10 years, not 90 years. Both owner and lessee are protected. There's a firm 5-year lease, which means both entities are committed. After that, another 5-year lease. Part of the lease, when people with due notice and for reason can leave the commitment. The lessee is going to provide hundreds and hundreds of thousands of capital improvements. All those are specified. Drawings, specs, pricing. It's all committed. It's all in writing. So both entities are protected. I would hope, sincerely hope, that you reconsider the lease that you have provided and you wait. I understand the process has been for some time that the Lower Paxton supervisors wait to sign a contract until the other entity has signed it. And as I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, Rich, don't you still have a board that has to vote?
That's correct.
Okay, so the second Y board has not even voted yet. So I sincerely ask that you wait for your vote until the Y has gone through their process, and then you are the last to sign. Thank you.
Thank you. I will point out the YMCA's executive board has met and has approved the lease. And were we to wait until after their next regularly scheduled board meeting, that would kick the reopening of the center sometime into early next year as opposed to early December, which is what we're striving for at the moment. So
I know the schedule you're striving for, but 90 years is a big stretch of time to be tied into something that does not protect the residents of this township. And I would just like to make a statement because, Mr. Henry, you made a statement that the reason the lease was the amount it was, $120 a year for 90 years, was because you wanted to give the Y the best deal possible. Those were your words.
yes,
My suggestion is that since you are elected to protect, support, and be responsible to the residents of the township, that that be your first consideration. Thank you.
thank you. Would anybody else like to address the board on this issue? Yes, Mr. Hamilton.
Supervisors, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Everett Hamilton. I'm at 4419 St. Andrews Way in Lower Paxton Township. I'm speaking in favor of the lease agreement with the YMCA. Since 1999, we've spent about $18 million as a township to support the Friendship Center. Since that time, and right now, costs are continually going up. The maintenance on the building is going to be continuously going up. So the options that the supervisors had, if this continues on this line, is either raising taxes, worry about bond ratings going down, or find alternatives. With the national outreach of the YMCA, I believe the option to let them have it is the best one for the township to take. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hamilton. Yes, Mr. Mosel.
Good evening, Dan Mosel, 120 Litchfield. I would like to thank Chairman Henry and the rest of the board and our manager and solicitor for taking the initiative to go out and find a solution for this problem. I'm sure that now that we have this, we are going to open the doors. That has been the key to get the doors of the Friendship Center open. With the initiative that you folks have taken, that will happen, and I would like to congratulate everybody involved. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Would anybody else like to address the board on this issue? Yes, ma'am.
Elizabeth Talaya Nur. I live at 926 Sunny Hill Lane. Let me say that I'm glad that there is an option for the Friendship Center to reopen, and I appreciate the YMCA's interest in taking over the management. But as a township resident, I have a serious concern of something that I think was lacking from the very beginning of planning to find a solution. Primarily, I question why the supervisors did not involve the Friendship Operating Board in the solution from the very beginning. As I understand it, talks, quote unquote, were in the works for over a year with the YMCA. But as being a Friendship member and being there 5-6 times a week, I understand from many of my friends that are members that the operating board had no idea that until it was announced it was closing that this was going on. So I really have concerns about how this whole process was conducted. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to address the board on this issue? Yes, ma'am.
Elvie Green, 108 Eric Drive, Lower Paxton Township. Basically, the last time I checked, we're still in a democracy, and the First Amendment has not been repealed, and we have a right to express our opinion during the time that we're allotted here. I was really appalled last week by the way that Phil Grant was treated, especially by a member of this group, and he is a resident who obtained $80,000 in grants for the senior center and for this community. And for him to be harassed and bullied, really, I think it's absolutely appalling. Certainly, the wife and the mother of some of the members here are not very proud of them at this point. The other thing that I wanted to say today, which I have said before, is that only by an open bid can you find a fair bid for what the Y should be charged as rent. And indeed, I do know of other communities who have gone out to bid for programs and services, and they found that there are a lot of private people, who knows, maybe even the YWCA, who would be willing to bid and let us know exactly how much is it worth it. I think it is appalling that you are letting go a prime piece, the prime piece of real estate in this community, go for a rent of $10 a month. It's, I think you're raping the taxpayer. I think it is obscene. I think it is terrible. And the Moody's rating, I don't think that is really the reason for what you are doing. I think that you have a $3.5 million debt in bonds, and I think you owe it to the taxpayer to charge a rent that is appropriate and that would help to pay that debt off. So this is what you're doing is complete abuse of the taxpayer. You may think that you have 4 more years before you're going to be elected, but who knows, I've seen things, when there is abuse, I've seen a higher power basically take care of the people that are abusers. So, and this is on abuse of the taxpayer of Lower Paxton Township. I hope that you are planning, Loman Henry, to lower our taxes, So, because you seem to think that this is a great thing, that you're getting rid of this, you're not getting rid of a $3.5 million bond debt. And the rest of you must not have very much experience in accounting and otherwise that you cannot see through this. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to address the board on this issue? Would anybody else like to address the board on this issue? Seeing none, the chair at this point would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I move that we approve the lease agreement with the Harrisburg Area YMCA for the rental of certain portions of the Friendship Center as outlined in the public agenda.
So moved. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded. Board members, are there any additional comments?
I would like to say, just reiterate once again, my appreciation of the operating board, the volunteers who've worked so hard over the last 20 years. I want to make sure people understand how much I appreciate the passion for the current members of the Friendship Center. I really hope you'll give it a chance, and I really hope that you'll find the same kind of camaraderie that you currently feel under the new arrangement. I think that will be the case, but I just hope and pray that you give it a chance. I wouldn't do this if I didn't think it was the right thing for the taxpayers. Nobody up here would. Heard some very inflammatory language there at the end, which is unfortunate. And it's hard to kind of put into words or illustrate exactly future costs that taxpayers will be spared, because that's in the future. I think one way to do it accurately and quickly would just be to mention briefly some of the capital costs that taxpayers have borne over the last just several years, maybe 3 years. The HVAC system, $530,000. The slide, which came in an estimate of $305,000. The gym floor for $40,000, the pool liner for $42,000. That gets us up to about $880,000. The roof, which township taxpayers would have to pay the entire bill, they will now be spared half of the bill. Now, some of that was, small portion of those dollars were covered by grant monies. That is true. But as you heard earlier, the Heroes Grove project moving forward, that was grant money. Our police, they need body cameras. They are applying for grant money. So this isn't free money. A lot of what we apply for the Friendship Center, unfortunately, has to compete with other needs, and it could be a community asset such as Heroes Grove, or it could be police body cameras. So I just say that just for some perspective. It's very hard for something as complicated and forward-looking as this to be able to provide perspective. But that's where I approach it. I think this will be good for taxpayers. I think it ultimately will be good for people who want to use the center and see it open again. And I just hope you give it a chance. And let's beat this virus, and let's fill up the center for many years. Thank you.
Any other board members like to make comments?
I just have a resolution that was from 1996. And in this resolution, it says that the Friendship Community Center, as proposed by the volunteers in HESAC, will be financially self-supporting. And unfortunately, it's been a burden on the taxpayers. And as Chris said, this year alone, if we would have opened it up, we would have had to put another $1 million in with the slide and the roof and everything. So I think this is a win-win situation for the township and for the Y, and I welcome the Y, and I think it'll be a great asset to the township.
Any other board members like to comment? Before we vote, a couple of words. First of all, I would like to express my deep appreciation to Mr. Curl and Mr. Krebs, who spent many times meeting with us and frankly impressing us with what it is the Y has done with its existing facilities in the Harrisburg area and some truly visionary plans that lie ahead for the Friendship Center. When the coronavirus pandemic hit, frankly, I thought that was probably going to be the end of that. But even in the midst of a pandemic, The Y has reached out. They're willing to take a chance, and they're taking a big risk here. And one of the reasons why the lease terms are so generous is we recognize that we are not in normal times. We recognize that and have heard the voices who say we want the Friendship Center reopened. It is a community asset. We've heard over and over again that this amenity isn't supposed to make money. And we're not looking to make money. And I'm sure the Y is not going to be making money, at least not anytime soon. But the fact is we want it to be a community amenity. We want the center opened, and we want to do it in a manner that while there are still financial costs that the township is going to have to bear, we're doing something that elected officials are rarely given credit for doing, and that is we're not looking to next year's elections. We're taking the long-range view, and we know it's going to take us 3 to 4 years to financially work our way through the remaining township obligations on this. But after that, we will be free of those obligations. And while that's not likely to trigger tax cuts, what it will do is prevent future tax increases. And above and beyond that, we are getting what I believe to be a sterling new community partner in the YMCA. We've seen what they've done in Harrisburg, in the West Shore, in Upper Dauphin, all the communities that they serve across the country. I think that while things won't be exactly the same, what you're going to see as we work our way through this COVID crisis, and it's not going to be a miraculous throw the switch December 1st, everything's going to be wonderful. As we work our way through this COVID crisis, hopefully in a matter of months and not years, and they ramp up the programming they're going to be able to do, the improvements that they're going to be able to do, you're going to find that this is a tremendous win for Lower Paxton Township. And that's not to say that the operating board or any previous board of supervisors didn't do the best they could or even the right thing under the circumstances they were in. But the circumstances have changed. And we were presented with a lot of options. And to us, this appears to be the best option. And I hope now everybody will rally around the Y, we'll get the Friendship Center reopened, and it will once again be a hub of activity in Lower Paxton. With that, we have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor of approving the lease, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay, so approved. Mr. Curl, you can take that back to the YMCA board. And again, thank you for being here last week and this week. I don't know if you would like to say anything at this particular point.
Well, thank you very much. I know this is a difficult decision. We will be going back to our board meeting on November 17th. As I mentioned, we had discussed it with the executive committee, and we're looking forward to moving forward. In the meantime, we're not waiting till that date. We're actively working from this point forward to get ready to reopen as soon as we can. We would like that to be on or about December 1st. There's a number of things that have to get accomplished before that can occur. And I reiterate the comments, to give us a chance because we're opening in the middle of a pandemic. Yeah. And we'll see, much like it was challenging in our own wise to open up, because you open the doors in Cumberland County on June 15th, Dauphin County on June 22nd, and where is everybody? And we started out with 10, 15, 20%. We're up to 39% utilization now. But it was very difficult in the beginning to get everybody's classes going right away, because it's not like the week before we shut down. We have to rebuild it up with every person that comes in and joins the Y. So we're going to be seeing what people's interests are. There's some things will come back faster than others because those folks come back sooner. But as soon as we get just enough, particularly at the prime time hours, we're going to be operating. And as I said last week, it's kind of like operating when you have a snowstorm where there's no classes, but you're open. So we'll get open, we'll get the wellness center open, the fitness center open, lap swimming, and we'll get the activities that were currently there going as quickly as we can. And then with certain classes, we'll get them going as long as we do the social distancing and the separation and the mitigation. So we're looking forward to it. We're excited about it. And again, as soon as anybody comes in and joins, somebody could come into any one of our branches now and join and use those branches and just come right over to the Friendship Center, whatever day it is that is open. But thank you for the opportunity, and looking forward to reestablishing the center as the Friendship YMCA. And Again, I really believe what's going to be different at the Friendship Center is the name on the outside of the building, because it's the people interacting with people, with your instructors, and all the camaraderie and all the fellowship that occurs. That will still be there, and that's what's exciting that we want to bring back. Thank you.
Thank you. We welcome you as a partner in our community. Looking forward to it. Okay, with that.
Just a quick comment.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Curl, my understanding is that some of our instructors have already contacted you and showed a desire to possibly go to work for you guys.
Well, we're going to need a lot of them. So it's, we know instructors have a relationship with those that take the classes. So we welcome that. Chad Krebs is sitting here with me, who is a resident of the township. And Chad will be overseeing we'll be running the fitness the center. And I imagine a lot of the folks that come through have been instructors probably know Chad already. So we're looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else, board members? Okay, well, let us move now. We have to take, let's see if we've got these agendas synced up now. We need to take action on more Friendship Center business. Action on application for payment number 3 and the contract closeout for the Friendship Center HVAC RTU Phase 2 project. Mr. Godshall.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Pay application number 3 authorizes payment in the amount of $27,542.80 to the contractor, Hostler Enterprise, on the Friendship Center Phase 2 HVAC rooftop unit upgrades project. Having completed requirements of the contract and now being fully compensated, this contract with Hostler may be closed out at this time. This pay application and contract closeout have been recommended by staff and also the township engineer. I'd be happy to help answer any questions.
Are there any questions, board members, about this closeout?
So that closes out about $500,000 in a project, 2 phases. And next time those suckers break, you guys can take care of it, okay? That's it.
Welcome to Lower Paxton. Hey, at least you're getting good HVAC over there, which I understand is very important in dealing with coronavirus. Our medical expert here can maybe weigh in on that, but we want good circulation there. That's key to keeping the coronavirus at bay.
And if I may, it's 14 HVACs, Brad, that we replaced on the rooftop.
In total, right?
Total,
right,
yes,
right.
in total, yes.
Hey, is there a motion then?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we accept the application to pay for the payment of number 3, the contract closeout for the Friendship Center HVAC RTU Phase 2 project in the amount of $27,542.80.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Let's see. Now we're going to go to 9D. We're under subdivision and land development now. And we need to take action on a preliminary and final land development plan for Life Storage's facility. They're located at 958 Pfeiffer's Lane, Plan 20-14.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
This is the preliminary final land development plan for the Life Storage facility. It proposes to redevelop a portion of the storage facility on their 4.5 acre lot at 958 Pfeiffer's Lane. The project will consist of demolishing 2 existing single-story buildings that contain over 80 storage units and replacing those buildings with a 3-story building that will contain 235 storage units. Additional improvements will consist of 2 small parking areas added to the north and south of the proposed building and the relocation of the access driveway to the southern end of the site. The site is in the general industrial zoning district and is currently served by an on-site well and septic field. As part of the redevelopment of the proposed site, they will be connected to public water and sewer. The plan was approved at the September 2nd, 2020 Planning Commission meeting. The applicant has requested 7 waivers, which are all recommended for approval by staff and Planning Commission. There are only 3 administrative comments and 4 general comments for this plan. If you have any questions, the engineer Doug Gossick is here, and he can answer anything you might have.
Amanda, the administrative and the other comments have all been handled.
Some of them can't be handled until you make your approval tonight, but then they will be.
Gentlemen, if you could give us your names, please, and
Good evening, Doug Gossick with Williams Site Civil and Dan Schwantz with Life Storage.
Life Storage, thank you.
Yes, so Amanda provided a pretty thorough summary of the project. The new building will be 3 stories high. It will contain conditioned storage spaces, unlike the other spaces on site. So we think it's going to be an improvement to the property. It's in the front of the property, the most visible part of the property. The new building will be attractive, and we think we're really cleaning up that part of the site. We're actually slightly decreasing impervious coverage as a result of the redevelopment. So
that's a plus.
it is.
Just a point of reference, 958 Piper's Lane is in relation to something that I can relate to. I mean, I can't tell from looking at that.
The VFW?
Is that where it's near the VFW?
VFW, I'm sorry, is this building right off the property. It's to the south and east a little bit. So we do share property lines.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. Any other questions? I don't see any other questions. With that, would anybody from the public like to address this issue? Seeing no public comment, is there then a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve action on a preliminary final land development plan for life storage facility at 958 Piper's Lane, Plan 2020-14.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Administrative comments and so forth.
Would you add that to your motion? Subject to all outstanding
Oh,
comments.
yeah, okay. Subject to all outstanding administrative comments.
Well, all comments, period.
All comments,
Yeah.
period.
Very good. Now we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any additional questions or comments? Okay, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Steve,
Very good,
that's 24 years in the infantry.
Thank you, sir.
You learn to take orders.
Okay. Now we need to take action on resolutions 2020-26 and 2020-27. These are road dedications for Stray Winds Farms Phases 5B and 9A. Who is handling?
I will. Both of those resolutions are for dedications for roads in Stray Winds Farm. They are for dedications of portions of Seabiscuit Way, Citation Drive, Sir Barton Court, and Secretariat Street. All the inspections have been completed and are ready for approval by the board.
With no additional comments, they're all completed, right?
They're all completed.
Right.
He learns really quickly.
And we'll have to order more salt.
Oh, great.
Well, it's cheaper this year.
Yeah, good thing the price came down. Okay. With that, is there a motion to approve these two resolutions?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve Resolution 2020-26, Resolution 2020-27, road dedications for Stray Wind Farms Phases 5B and 9A.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. We need to then take action on Resolution 2020-31, authorizing filing of the 2020 road docket with the Dauphin County Clerk of Courts, Mr. Godshall, or Mr. Stein, whomever.
Mrs. Zerby.
Wow, okay.
Keep going.
We're just working
We're working our way across the room, yes.
This is just simply a resolution that adopts all your other resolutions. I have to have this in order to get your liquid fuels money for 2020.
Thank you, Mrs. Zerby, for clearing that up.
Yes.
Is there a motion?
Mr.
Mr. Chairman,
Chairman,
I move that we approve action on Resolution 2020-31, authorizing filling of the 2020 road docket with the Dauphin County Clerk of Court.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any additional comments or public comment? Seeing none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we're moving right along here. I guess that takes us to improvement guarantees, of which there are 3. Nothing appears to be out of the ordinary there.
Nothing out of the ordinary. You have 2 letters of credit for the securing of the road dedications, and then Forest Hills Commons has a reduction.
Very good. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve the improvement guarantees. Forest Hills Commons, Stray Wind Farms, Phase 9A, and Stray Winds Farm 5B.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, that takes us to payment of bills for Lower Paxton Township and the Lower Paxton Township Authority. Mr. Treasurer.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the payment of bills for Lower Paxton Township and Lower Paxton Township Authority.
So moved. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any additional announcements from the board or the manager?
Yeah, I did forget one. I know Mr. Zumas and I were there. I don't know if the other 3 were there on Saturday. I just wanted to welcome the Nature Nurture School. Went into the Forest Hills Commons. They had an open house on Saturday, so I want to welcome them to the township.
Very good. Anybody else? Announcements? Mr. Gottschall, any announcements?
Yes, sir.
The next meeting of the Board of Supervisors will be held on Wednesday, November 4th. Apparently something is happening on Tuesday, November 3rd. Therefore, feeling that we would probably be upstaged to a considerable degree, the next meeting of the Board of Supervisors will be a business meeting on Wednesday, November 4th, 2020 at 7 p.m. in this room. With that, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved and, who seconds?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.